Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning Makes. My last episode I had shown some tags and stuff where I did some watercolor painting with distress inks, and I said I would do a process video, so I'll go ahead and do that today. I've got this Diana Markham stamp. I've used archival ink and the black archival ink, and I like any watercolor paper will do, but I do like the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper. So that's what I have here. So I've never done a process video, so bear with me. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're just going to go for it and try to have some fun, okay? So I'm doing a smaller image here just so that I hopefully can kind of fit this into hopefully not too long a video, and I'll just kind of show y'all how I do this particular process. So like I said, I've got this stamped out here. I use the archival ink because it's a waterproof ink, so you can use that for sure when you are doing watercolor. So today I'm going to show you the colors that I used for the cup. Let's start with the cup. I'm going to use a combination of the aged mahogany and the lumberjack plaid. So this is my darker color that I'll use for some shadowing later after I paint it with some of this color. So I'll show you kind of how I do that. So I've got my, this is my glass mat. This is the Tonic Studios Tim Holtz glass mat that I use. And I use the white portion here so that I can see my color good. So what I do is I just take the ink and I come and put it, just rub it right here, right on that glass, like so. Then I got my little water dipper here. It's a little dish my daughter made in ceramics when she was in school, so I use it all the time. It's my favorite. So I get my water, and I'm going to come to the edge of that color, and I'm going to come out like so. Okay? I'm going to dip that water again and come to this edge here and come out further. So what I have is a light color, a medium color, and a dark color. Okay, so that's how I get started, is I kind of drag that water and that color out to different shades. So I'm going to start with the lighter version first and come through and just paint the body of my cup with that lighter color. I'm just going to come through and just paint all that. Now you may have to dip into your water more often here and there to achieve that same gradient. But for now I've got a nice little pool of light, medium, and dark, and I'll just kind of come through. If you go out of the lines, it's not a giant deal, because what I'm going to wind up doing is cutting this out and putting it on the tag. So you just kind of come through. Right now it kind of looks pink, doesn't it? But I'll show you in the end it'll be more vibrant. So now I've kind of got a base color going here. I'm going to kind of dip into that water a little bit more, come into this medium section and dig into that darker color. And I'm going to come back and paint again. So what you're doing is you're building color. You're building depth. Come back into that medium color. And a little bit does go quite a ways. As you do this more and more, you'll kind of get the feel of how much you need. And sometimes the color I put down here is not enough. I wind up using it all for like bigger projects, and I'll just come down and slap some more ink down there, you know. I dipped into my water a little bit more to grab some more of that darker color. So like I say, you're building your color, kind of making it richer and richer. So I've got a base down. What I'm going to try and do is dip into this darker section. See this darker part here? And I'm going to come around and hit my corners and my little spots that have like little dots on them. And then from there, I'm going to go back to my lighter color and just spread out the edges. I'm not going to dip into that darker color because I'm going to leave that there so it's darker and shaded. But see how you have this dark edge right here? I'm just going to come right here at the edge with that looser color and just kind of smooth that edge out. You see what I'm saying? And then just kind of keep doing that. Again, I'm going to come into my darker color here. I'm going to turn my picture upside down. And I'm going to get some of these edges here. And just make those edges kind of dark and rich. Get a little more water into my lighter section. So again, I'm going to take that lighter section and just smooth out that harsh edge that I made and carry it out throughout the picture. I'm just going to touch that edge and blend it out, kind of really is what I'm doing. So what you're doing is kind of building that color. So let's go ahead and get that handle, the little cup handle. Let's get that dark color and do some edging with that. And I'll come here at the top and the bottom. And then I'll kind of come around and just do some of these edges here. And then dip back into that lighter color and smooth that out. All right, I've got a pretty decent, what I'm going to do is make my lighter section a little more wet here and come back to some of these, sorry, I think I might be out of frame, sorry about that, y'all. Come back to some of these edges and smooth them out just a touch more. Okay, so you kind of went from that pink base to some darker areas. All right, we're going to add to the depth here in a second, but I'm going to show you what I do with this ink most of the time. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes I'll wipe it up, but what I like to try to do is not waste it. So what I'll do, let me move my picture here for a second. What I'll do is I'll come through and spray it down. And then I'll take one of my tags and pick that color up, like so. And then what you have is this. And next video, I'll show you what I make with this, because what this is going to make is a background, right? So I'll set that aside to dry. I'll get my wipe up the rest of it. And then we're going to do our next color. Got a little paper towel here too, so I'm going to wipe this down. So our next color, I'm going to use that aged mahogany, and you don't really need a lot of that, so I just kind of put just a little bit down there. So let's get that picture back. Now what we're going to do is add to that depth again. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to come and get that edge kind of wet right here. I'm going to dip again and then just draw it out even further. So I've got that light, medium, dark. My paper towel's right here. I'm going to kind of sop that up a little bit. So I'm going to come through with my lighter color. And again, sorry, let me get back in frame here, y'all. Again, I'm going to come in and hit up some just corners and edges, okay, with that lighter color. Lighter and medium color. And just richen it up. So you get some good shadowing going. Again, if you get out of line a little bit, that's okay. We're going to cut this out anyway, so I'm not too concerned. Now that's looking richer, but what I really want to do is deepen it. So I'm going to come into this darker section and really hit some corners. Okay. Just wherever you want some extra shading, and I don't know if you can see that real good, but I'll hold it up to the camera here in a minute. You're getting some darker area. Now what I like to do as well is come here in some of the creases, you know, just some of the little corners of my little gingerbread man. Just going to make it rich. And then again, come back into my light piece and smooth out those dark edges. Kind of going back around here too to do that as well. Got some, just kind of smoothing out that harsh line of that darker color and blending it out and carrying it out to the rest of the picture. Let me turn my picture here. See this dark line? I'm just going to come right here and just touch the edge of that and just kind of fan it out. So I'll hold this up a little bit closer. You can see how you've got that darker, richer color in those areas that kind of almost look like shadow areas. So let me get the teacup handle. Get that darker area going. I come like here, maybe just kind of bits and pieces of it. And then go back into my lighter color and fan that out. Looks like I left some kind of white here. I'm getting a little tiny bit out of line, but it's okay. It's still going to look super cute. I like that. I like this. It's gorgeous. It's rich. See some little areas where I can come in more here. So what we did is we took two colors, the lumberjack plaid and the aged mahogany, and we just built those layers of color. Okay, I'm going to set this aside, wash my brush a little bit. Again, I try not to waste any ink if I can get away with it. I'm going to spray this guy. I'll dip my card back, my tag back into it. Yeah, he's going to be beautiful. I don't know what I'll do, but something. I'll show you on next video. It'll be really pretty. I love making backgrounds like that too. That's squishy ink technique. Okay, so I kind of did it opposite. I did my cup red. I'm going to do my hearts green. I don't know why I did it that way. It just sounded fun. So the color for the hearts that I'm going to use is going to be the peeled paint and the rustic wilderness. So we'll do that. I'll start with that lighter color first. You always start with your lighter color first. So here's your peeled paint. My brush is a little bit on the pink side, so let me get this clean over here, okay? All you got to do is keep wetting it and dabbing it on your paper towel, and it should come pretty clean for you. Those reds are pretty dark, though, I tell you. Okay, I think we did it. All right, again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to take the edge of that, get it nice and wet, wet again, and come out even further. So I've got that gradient, light, medium, dark. Okay, so I'm going to take that lightish, medium-ish, and just fill, sorry, I'm out of frame again. I'm going to fill in my hearts. That's a little too light, actually, if you ask me. So I'm going to come in and grab some dark color and then come in and fill that out. Such a soft color. I love this color. Something else I like to do, come in and I'll kind of pounce. Do a little pounce, and it adds little darker dots so that when it dries, you get that, you know, just like that classic watercolor look when you pounce. It's not just an even color, it's kind of splotchy almost, but I like that. Okay, so there's that color. I'm actually going to leave this color here, the peeled paint, and then come in with my, what was Rustic Wilderness. I'll come in with this guy. Do that same thing we did with the water and making the light and the dark and the medium. I'm going to come in and grab that green color. I don't know if that's in frame, sorry. And come over to here, see where the little black lines are? Those are kind of almost areas of where you should see shadow. So I'm just going to pounce some of that darker green right there. It just gives a nice little contrast. Maybe it's just a little up here in the corner too. You know? I'm going to come into the darker part of the paint. Now what I'd like to do from here, I'm going to rinse my brush out, come back to my lighter color, to my light part, and kind of use that to just smooth this out a bit. Smooth out those lines. And that is it. It just gives you such a neat depth of color. I love that look. So I'm going to come back through and color these little tiny hearts too. Do the same thing I just did, but just real lightly. You don't need a lot of color. These are just small little hearts. So it's not like you have to do a whole lot here. I'm going to come right in with some of that dark and just pounce. Let that dry. Okay, so here's some of your hearts, okay? See how you get that shaded kind of look? I love that. Okay, I'm going to get another tag for the green. Spritz that. Make this another work on another background. Let that, set that aside, let it dry. I'm going to wipe this down. Okay. So for the rim of the cup, I've got a different color combination that I'm going to use, and I'm actually going to blend two together because I thought it just came out pretty cute. So I've got some shabby shutters, and I've got some bundled sage. So what I'll do, a little bit of both. This bundled sage, you can't hardly see it. It's so light. And what I'm going to do here, oops, is kind of just see how I'm just swirling them all together. Yeah, I just made a new color by just blending those two together, and I just thought that was so pretty. And I'm going to come through and just do the rim of my coffee cup or cocoa cup or whatever we're calling this. And then it's just a soft green color. And there's parts where there's more peeled paint and parts where there's more bundled sage, and that's okay. That's you want that look because you just get such a, it's not like a solid color. It's just kind of that classic watercolor kind of look. Just you get different shades. Now, I like this a lot, but I think I'd like a little darker, so I'm going to come back in with some more Shabby Shutter over here. And kind of come in some certain areas, like some highlighting areas, or shadowy areas, like the corners especially. And kind of like right along the base here where you've got some of those little dots. I like the dots in Diana Markham stamps. They just add such depth to the picture and kind of almost guide you to where more shading should be, you know? That's how I see it anyway. Okay, I like it. To me, I think that looks great. I'll kind of come up close so you can see some of that color. Again, I'm going to come in with my tag, try to wipe some of this off here. See if we can't just do it dry. There's a lot of water down there. Yeah, this is going to be a great background for something. All right, let's set that aside. Now we're going to do the gingerbread. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I'm a turkey. I forgot the heart and the gingerbread man. Okay, so we just need a little tiny bit of color for that. So we'll do that real quick. Shoot. All right, so let's get that heart colored up for the gingerbread man. Again, coming in with that lighter color first. Gonna dip down into the darker color, come here. I think that's good enough, yeah. He goes. All right, I'm just gonna wipe this up. Okay, now I'm down to the cocoa or coffee or whatever we're calling it, and the gingerbread man. And I'm going to use the same colors for both the gingerbread man and the cocoa. I'm going to use the vintage photo and the walnut stain. I'm actually going to put both colors down here on my mat just because it'll be easy. Actually, let me do a little bit more. All right. I'm going to do just like we did before, where I'm going to come in that vintage photo. I'm going to get it. Oh, snapdragons. That's green. I didn't clean my brush. Told y'all this is my first process video, so there's bound to be some kind of hiccups, right? Okay, so that's an easy fix, though. We'll just Let's wipe that down. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I'm right back. So, again, we're going to go into that vintage photo. We're going to lighten that up. Make a gradient of color here. And what I'll do is come in and paint my gingerbread man. And get that good base color on it. Get a little more water here, make some more of a pool of color here. I'm going to come in and do the same with my cocoa. So now that I've got my base color down, I'm going to go ahead and put down some more depth to it. So I dipped into this light color, now I'm going to dip into the darker color. And just kind of come around the edges. See how that kind of brightens that up? Kind of in some random spots there. So I'm going to do that with my gingerbread man too. Just kind of come into some shadowy areas. Now once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and dip back into my lighter color to blend out the darker. Okay. Didn't feel like I got quite enough depth in this coffee area, so I'm dipping down into it a little bit more. Now, I'm going to go straight into my dark espresso. I'm not going to even lighten it up this time. I'm going to go with a little bit of water, kind of just grab some of that darker. And that's immediately going to give me some depth. And I'm kind of just doing some random areas here. Okay, I'm going to do just a little bit of that with my gingerbread man too. Kind of just do a little bit of shadowing here. Okay, and I think I might go back into that tea dye just a little bit to blend that out. And then I'm pretty much done. This is what I have. And I just love that. I love the way the Distress inks look when you use them as a watercolor. I just think they're so kind of country looking, almost within these stamps. I just love that rustic kind of look that they have. They're not smooth, they're not really perfect. It's just, you get that depth and the shadowing. So that's how I do that. And what I did was I painted another one earlier, and I went ahead and made a little tag with it. This is my little tag. This says Cocoa, so I've got like a little Cocoa tag here from the LOTV DigiShop tag. So the heart Cocoa. I put like a little kettle charm, like hot water kettle, and layered it up on a little tag. I also put some of those little sprinkly, I had some watercolor that's metallic, like a bronzy gold color, and sprinkle that on top. So I thank you so much for joining me, and I had so much fun doing that. I'd like to do that again. So maybe I'll be sharing some more stuff with y'all that I do, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.